Hello everyone, it's Nick from A Longer Life, and in these short videos I want to talk to you today about my longevity protocol PDF that I've put together. I get a lot of questions about my longevity protocol, particularly my supplements, and I thought, the best way to explain this is really all coherently together in one document, because when it comes down to building your perfect supplement stack, no two people are going to look the same. Everybody's going to be different. And it's going to take a bit of changing your whole entire day, really, one habit at a time, to really build and optimize that stack. And in truth, I'm always trying new things. As if anybody who knows me knows, I love self-experimentation. What's in the perfect supplement stack? Well, it depends on what you're trying to optimize for. And personally, I'm interested in longevity. Hi, it's Nick from A Longer Life, and in my little video today, I want to talk to you about my longevity protocol PDF, which I have put together in response to getting all sorts of questions about how I build my perfect day. And in particular, one of the most common questions is, of course, Nick, what is your supplement stack? And this is a very, very curious question. I understand why you would ask, but the thing is, there's really no simple answer to that question, and I'll explain why. The reason that there's no perfect supplement stack or even any easy way to share my own is that everybody's is going to be different, particularly when we're thinking about optimizing for our longevity. So rather than just simply listing off the supplements I take, while that might sound fancy and cool and get people interested and maybe get some likes on Instagram, I've instead gone with my team to build out an entire PDF that goes through how I have structured my day in a way that I hope will help you build yours. And in this document, I break it down into 3 key phases of the day. The first key phase of the day is foundations. Now, foundations is about waking up and prioritizing yourself, making sure you kick off with some self-care, whatever that looks like in your life. If you've got young children, trust me, I've been there. I know that's not easy, but really we can still carve out some sort of foundation for ourselves at the beginning of the day to set the foundation up for the rest of the day. And this is particularly important with those early moments right when we wake up. I don't like to start my day going straight into the grind. I know a lot of people in the tech space like to brag about how they wake up and start working straight away. I don't really think that that is actually the type of life that I want to live over the long term. And when it comes to longevity, that's what we're trying to build. We're trying to build a life that we love each day. Because remember, the beginning of longevity, the entire framework that I've built for you is actually having the right longevity mindset. And that means we want to love the life that we are living. So the very beginning of your day, you got to know what kind of person you are. Are you the kind of person that wakes up and has a anxiety cortisol spike in the morning that you have to calm down? Or are you the person that is really groggy and it's hard for them to get up? Knowing that is really important. For myself, I have to ward off morning anxiety. So the first thing that I tend to do is some early grounding exercises, getting my feet on the floor, doing some breathing, and I often like to go straight to using my pulsetto on the anxiety session, because that actually helps me stay more calm in the morning. And I know that I need to stay away from caffeine at least until I've had some protein for breakfast. Because of how I know my nervous system responds in the morning, I've put in here the list of things that I use to regulate my nervous system, like KSM-66, lithium orotate, and even using saffron. Now, those supplements aren't necessarily what you should use, but you will want to think about the start of your day in terms of which side of that spectrum you sit on. Are you somebody who needs a little bit of get up and go, or are you somebody who needs a little bit of calm down, it's going to be okay, feel more grounded? That's really where you're going to think about starting your supplement stack. Then in this document, one of the things I like to talk about is making sure we get up and get some morning sunlight. So the first thing you'll see in that document is me walking on the beach in the morning. Now, I think this is incredibly important because getting that early sunlight, particularly into your eyes, is how you're going to set your circadian rhythm for the day. And in fact, that has a lot to do with how well you sleep at night. And it's one of the most powerful things you can do when you start to change time zones, is get yourself aligned with the sunlight. Get that bright sunlight in the morning in your eyes. Doing this each and every day is going to be very powerful for your health. The next thing I put in this document is my full skincare protocol for the morning. I think looking after your skin is about far more than vanity, and it's something we want to be thinking about in terms of taking care of the largest organ on our body, which is our skin. And of course, that includes a little bit of sunscreen. It uses some of the products that I've been testing on myself, and all those might end up being a little bit different for you. But if you're interested to know what I'm using, you can find it in this protocol PDF. The next big thing for the foundation of your day is breakfast. Breakfast. A lot of people talk about skipping breakfast, intermittent fasting in the longevity space. And look, I think that is useful in certain people, in particular if you're trying to improve your insulin sensitivity, if you're a bit overweight, you're trying to manage some unhealthy body fat, some high visceral fat levels. Maybe skipping some breakfast can be good for you. But for those of us who are a little bit more metabolically healthy or end up on the leaner side, like myself, getting a good high-protein breakfast in early is really important. So I talk about getting that breakfast in there. And of course, the supplements that I like to power up my breakfast with, which include a few things that are optimized for my own longevity risk. This is a big thing that I talk about. What's going to be in your supplement stack really needs to be based on your own longevity strategy, which is looking forward at the risk that you are most likely to develop in terms of the diseases of aging. So I know that I need to stay ahead of prostate cancer because it's in my family history and it's in my genetic risk. I know that I need to think ahead on macular degeneration because it's in my family history and it's in my genetic risk. So those supplements end up in the ones that I take, and many of those I take in the morning with my breakfast, which I include here in a nice, beautiful list for you. And so that's the beginning of the day, what I call foundations. And really when I lay out what I do in the morning, I'm trying to give you some key points that you can also think about in terms of how your morning is going to look. I like to wake up, make sure I ground and regulate my nervous system, get that sunlight in my eyes, do a bit of stretching, mobility, and some early exercise to turn my body on for the day, and then get moving to think about a healthy, high-protein breakfast. Those are some of the foundations that I think you can build on in your own daily protocol by taking a look at what I do. And you can also start to think about which supplements you start your day with based on how you want to regulate your nervous system and start taking care of some of those long-term risks that you know that you are particularly vulnerable to. So that's a quick peek at my longevity protocol, particularly the morning, the foundations phase of the day. You can get a copy of this PDF sent to you when you sign up for my newsletter, and you can find a link to that in my bio. I think we've done a great job not only making it interesting, but also making it beautiful by making it animated and interesting and fun to engage with. I hope you'll take a look and let me know what you think.